Hello Jeddies and Lentilmen, welcome back to another video on this channel, on the J Fits channel. And in today's video we have a complete, comprehensive, in-depth guide for ACBuy. So I'm going to literally go over everything from finding items to ordering items to actually submitting hauls, what everything basically means. It's going to cover all of the basics and it will turn you from someone that doesn't have a clue on what they're doing with ACBuy to someone that knows exactly what they're doing. And you can order as many hauls as you want right after watching this video, because it's honestly a very simple process. It just takes a bit of getting used to. As always, you can find my other social media down below. And if you want to join the Discord server for extra help, obviously I invite you to do so. You can either join my Discord or the ACBuy Discord. In both servers, you can pretty much get help all the time. And yeah, without further ado, let's just actually get into this tutorial. So obviously on the ACBuy homepage, and this guide will be as of June of 2025. They make updates to this website quite often, so it might look different based on when you're watching this. But the general order process shouldn't be too different. So we're on the homepage, we've made our account, hopefully using the link down below. If you do use the link down below to make an ACBuy account, you will get coupons to start off with, which is a really nice touch. And you also be supporting me, which I do obviously appreciate. So once we've got an account, we've got this blank slate, we've got some hot selling products, but this isn't really what we're interested in. We want to find specific items and stuff that we actually care about, stuff of high quality. How do we do that? The easiest option is to use Reddit. You've got these two subreddits, which are both extremely good finding varying types of stuff. So quality reps will be for more high-end brands, whereas fashion reps is more for the like streetwear brands. That's basically the general consensus. So this is like CH, ERD, those type of brands, whereas this would be like sneakers and all that type of stuff. You do also have spreadsheets. So for example, I've got my own spreadsheet here, which you could find in the description. And it really depends on your preferences. Most content creators in this space have their own spreadsheet. This is just mine, so obviously I'm showing it to you guys, but you don't need to use it at all. I'll close this tab even. But Reddit is basically the best place to find stuff, and it's as simple as typing in the name of what you're looking for here. So for example, if I did Balenciaga, because I'm interested in finding Balenciaga products, and then I can sort by new, I'll be able to find many posts of Balenciaga products that I can then open and order. So for example, this hoodie that I just found, and usually if the person that posted this has a brain cell, they will leave the link down below. So as you can see here, we have the link, but you're probably wondering, what is this link? What, this doesn't look like ACBuy and it's got spaces in between. Obviously you need to remove the spaces because sometimes these links get filtered, but this is a link to Taobao. Now I'm going to explain to you what this exactly means. So ACBuy is a shipping proxy or a shipping platform. They don't actually produce any of the products that you can find on there. What you're buying from is actually Taobao, Weidian, and Yupoo. Now these websites each have a similar purpose, Yupoo being the most different, which is literally just a photo catalog where you can find links for products. So you would need to actually know these sellers to find their Yupoos. You can also find them on Reddit, and I will also make a video in the future of recommended sellers that I personally buy from quite often. For example, with this seller MVT, he's got a nice organized shop, and you do see a Taobao link here. So Yupoo is just a photo catalog platform where people upload photos of their products and they link to the actual purchase link, and that's where Taobao and Weidian come in play. These are the actual websites, Chinese websites, where these products are sold, and you can then get these products onto ACBuy and order them through ACBuy. So now that you understand that ACBuy doesn't produce anything, they're just a shipping proxy, and Taobao, Weidian, and Yupoo are where you actually get the products. We'll get this link from this guy, we'll copy it, we'll go into ACBuy, go back and remove the spaces, we can press enter, and we'll be redirected to the product page. But this product isn't actually the one I want to explain, I want to give you guys a tour with, because it doesn't have that much information. Some product pages, such as this one you can see for the Balenciaga runners, has really a lot of things going on, and it is a bit overwhelming. So we'll close this tab, and we'll just focus on the runners. So, the product page, what do you have? First, you've got the stock photos provided by the seller here on the left. You've got the name of the seller, you've got the name of the listing, price. So I've got the price set to dollars, which you can do in the top right. You can set to English with USD currency, or Spanish, Polish, Chinese, and then USD, Euro, Zloty, and Chinese Yuan. All personal preference, I prefer USD. Click OK, and that's what this price is here, 460 Yuan, $71. Now this isn't actually $71 in real life money. Think of this kind of as a balance on the website, and 460 Yuan on ACBuy website is different from 460 Yuan in real life, just because they have a different conversion rate. This is the same case for every agent you'll buy from. So this is kind of like the industry standard, and it's not something that's surprising by any means. It's just how things go. Just below that, we have a breakdown of how this works. So you've got number one and number two, seller to ACBuy designated warehouse. So you pay $1.50 for domestic shipping, that's called, to get the item shipped to the warehouse. I'll go into more detail on that. And then step two is actually shipping it to your house. I will go into a lot more detail on that in a sec, so don't worry. And here you have a section called version. And now this is where things get a little bit confusing with products, and this is where you have to do a bit more research. So as you can see, we have 6 different options for version for these shoes, and you obviously want what's best for you. You want the highest quality, you want the most accurate items, because I mean, you want to wear these and feel confident in them, want to be comfortable, right? So how do you know which version or batch, which is the actual industry name, to choose. Batches differ because they're from different factories with different materials, different attention to detail. Some batches are better than others, some batches are worse than others, and you need to know what you're buying. The best way to do this is once again Reddit. We'll go back to Reddit, search up runner, and then we'll sort by new. And as you can see, we have a lot of QC posts. QC meaning quality check or quality control. So these are posts made by the community, by people that bought shoes and got photos from the ACBuy or other agent website, and they're posting them for review. So as you can see, we have a lot of posts here, and the general consensus seems to be XA. Most of these listings are XA batch, XA, XA, XA. And if we go back to the product page, you'll see that that is actually one of the choices, and it's also cheaper than the others. Now, I do want to say this batch says best. That doesn't mean it's the best batch. That's just the name of the batch. It's to mislead you, it's to make you buy it. XA is, from my knowledge and from what we've just seen on Reddit, the most popular batch, and that's what I would go with. You see, there's not that many options for colors because some batches don't produce all the colorways, but that's where you would maybe stray away from the highest quality just because you want certain colors, and you'll buy something that's lower quality but more diverse. For the purpose of this video, I'm just going to select XA. We'll scroll down and we'll see size. Now, sometimes the option for sizing is a bit weird. Here, for example, it says message remark size 35 to 46. What does that mean? Sizing for shoes is most often European sizing. So if you're a US 10, I believe that's a European 44. I might be wrong, but please do your own research as well. Search it up, whatever your shoe size is in American or UK, just convert it to European, and that's what your size is. And then you type that in here, size 44. So then whenever you buy it, it will be assigned with your order, and you'll be able to see that the size is 44. For clothing, this is slightly different. As you can see, we've got another product, and these are jeans from the seller that I just showcased slightly earlier. Got a bunch of jean options. We'll choose whatever, and you see we have sizing here. Do not ever just go based off of the label. Size S, M, L, XL, that doesn't matter. That means nothing. What you actually want to do is scroll down and find the sizing for your actual item. Usually, if the listing has just one item, it will just be one size chart, and this gives you a nice in-depth explanation of how this item fits and what the sizing is like. For example, for an L would give you a trouser length of 110 centimeters with the hip width of 118, waist of 89, and slacks bottom of 59. The best way to check what you should buy is to measure your existing clothes in real life and just compare and then order that. From my experience, I know I want to buy in between M and L because like that's the most comfortable. L would be quite loose on my waist, whereas M would be slightly tighter, and I can obviously order based off of that. Going back to the hoodie really quickly, sometimes the sizing is a bit more confusing where it just says numbers. You're literally following the same rule here where you're scrolling down, you're finding the size chart. As you can see, you're clicking on it to translate it, and you're looking at the label. So label 3 has the length of 75 with the bust size or chest size of 83, a shoulder and sleeve length of 85, and the hem of 80. That's what these numbers represent, these different sizes. These are the measurements for those sizes, and that's how you know which size you should buy. Please do not blind buy sizes. Don't assume that you're L or XL or small or medium, because sizing really differs based on what items you buy, especially if you're buying brands like Balenciaga or EAD. Sometimes an S fits like an L fits like an M, XL fits like a small. There is really no universal sizing here. You really do have to measure your clothes, check these size charts, and do your own research. Okay, but we've decided we want this size 44 Balenciaga runner, this colorway, XA batch. We're going to add it to cart. This is where the cart page goes into play, and as you can see, we do have the item that I just added up here and a bunch of other random shit that I have in my cart for no reason. So now that we've added the item to cart, you're probably wondering, well, how does this work? How does this actually get to my house? Let's not get ahead of ourselves here. Let's actually think about what this process is. So first you buy it to the warehouse, and then you buy it to yourself. The more items you buy, the more items you ship to the warehouse that you want to ship to your house afterwards, the bigger the package is going to be, and the more it's going to cost to ship it internationally. So the shipping from the ACBuy warehouse to your house is the most expensive part of this usually, if you're thinking about one payment, because obviously a pair of shoes is quite expensive, but then you have to pay for the shipping as well. You can, however, estimate shipping. There are two ways to do this. First one is through cart estimations. This doesn't always work because this pulls data from this item that was previously ordered on ACBuy. What that means is someone else has bought this exact listing, this exact product through this website before, through ACBuy, and therefore they have this data that they can use to estimate. So we can just select it. We have the United Kingdom selected here, and we can do check now, and then it will give me the information on how much the shipping would cost. This isn't always possible because sometimes they don't have the product data, so that's a dead end. What you can use instead is the shipping estimation calculator, which you can find in the top right with this little calculator icon, or just go to acbuy.com/estimation, and here you can provide your country and the weight. Obviously, you don't know the exact weight. How could you know? You just have to guess, okay? If you've got t-shirts, you can estimate that's about 200 grams. If you've got hoodies, that's about a kilogram, maybe a kilogram and a half if it's a heavy one. Jeans, maybe 800 grams. You kind of want to add this up and just slap it into here. So for example, let's just say our package is 4 kilograms. We'll click check now, and we can get a general idea of how much the shipping would cost on the right side here. The US is relatively expensive right now. As this video is coming out, the tariff stuff is still all happening, and it's a bit confusing for everyone. So that's why I mentioned that the time at which I recorded this video is important, because these things do change. Okay, but now that we know how much the shipping is roughly going to cost, we know that we do want this item, we're going to actually go through the checkout process. So first of all, checkout, obviously, choose destination country, slap in wherever you're shipping to. So for me, that would be Poland. And then you've got the information here. Here you can see the size that I typed in, size 44. Do remember to do this, otherwise you're going to slow down the process. process. And we have an additional service here called customized photos. Here you can actually ask for them to take close-ups or specific angles of an item that you're buying. If you're buying something with intricate details, you can add as many as you want. These do cost, so obviously don't just like add a bunch of photos for no reason. But if you want close-ups of like, I don't know, the inside of the shoe, please take a close-up photo of the inside of the shoe. Simple as that. I'll delete these and I'll confirm, and you can see that I do have this customized photo service here for 15 cents. It's like one yuan, but still, you know, it adds up. And then select I have read and agreed and click submit, and you'll be redirected to the actual payment page. When you're buying for the first time, you'll be asked to add a billing address. I've got mine here, obviously very genuine. I live at meow 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 meow, and here you can choose one of the payment methods. There is no PayPal, just before anyone asks, but you do have Apple Pay, Google Pay, all of these other payment options. And I've got wallet here because I've got balance on the website. That's the only reason. Usually I'll be using Apple Pay most likely. Some of these options are better than others. They have less fees, they have more fees. It's a matter of just checking different things and seeing what's cheapest for you. It all depends on your currency and where you're situated. Yeah, I would just do balance, after which I would click checkout. I have a payment password set up. This is something that everyone does, and I'm not going to go through this because it's a very simple process. It's basically just an extra password for every time you pay for something, just in case someone hijacks your account or anything. As you can see, I've typed mine in, and now I was redirected to the order page. So now that we're on the order page, we're actually going to go in depth about this page as well, because this is quite important. This is where you actually track the status of all your items that you've ordered. As you can see, I do have this pair of shoes that we just added here. I will actually cancel this because I don't want it, and I'll delete the order so I don't have it in my history. But all these other items I did actually order today, so this is stuff that I am actually waiting for. And as you can see, it's in the purchase status. This is the price I paid, how many of them I ordered, and I can click on the order details to have a more in-depth explanation of what's going on with it. Right now it's just purchased, we already know that, and here you'd have the tracking for the item. You can also add customized photos after the fact if you forgot to do so, and apply for refund is basically cancelling the order. You can also do this through the order inquiry. This button is pretty important. Remember that this is here. If you have any problems with your order, if you get photos of your product and it looks like utter shit, or if you want to make sure something is the specific material or whatever, if you just want to ask any question to the guy that's handling this item for you, click order inquiry and ask them here. Literally could be anything, but obviously don't be annoying. But if you have any general question, you can ask them here. And the order page will be important until your items are actually shipped and arrived at the warehouse. So it will say purchased, and then it'll say seller sent, then it'll say stock arrived, and then it'll say stored. Once your items are stored, they will be redirected to the warehouse tab, where you'll find all the items that have arrived to your ACBuy warehouse. And this is all the stuff that I currently have. Some of the stuff is actually for my friend, but as you can see, you've got a bit more information going on here, and you do have a message from the agent and the actual QC photos. So you can see there is some Balenciaga underwear as the QC photos. This is where you can actually view the exact product that you're going to have. So whatever they take photos of here is the exact thing you're going to have. So if you see any issues with it, make sure you flag that up, either return or exchange the items, just because you don't want any stuff that isn't exactly the highest quality. You have 120 hours to do that. You can click this return or exchange button, and you do get this little pop-up that says the seller may not bear the return shipping fee, which would be like 10 yuan. But yeah, it's not a problem. And then you can select either return or exchange. Exchange obviously means that the item gets sent back and a new one gets sent out. And return just means the item goes back and you get your money back. You do also have other information here. Obviously the quantity, the actual weight of your item, the size or the volume, the product type, and this option. Once again, you can click customize photos if you've forgotten, or if something in the QC is alarming and you want to get a close up, you can do that here. And extend storage period. Now this relates to the amount of time that you can keep your stuff in the warehouse. Currently it's 90 days. So as you can see, this item expires August 29th. And after August 29th, I lose this item. It gets discarded. I can't ship it anymore. You can't just order a bunch of shit to the warehouse and keep it there. You do actually need to ship this sooner or later. If you're running out of time, or if you're saving up, or if you want to do a bigger haul, you can extend the storage for either 1 month, 2 months, or 3 months, and you can do this again afterwards. And it's literally like $1.50 for 1 month, so it's not a big deal. So now that you understand what you're seeing in the warehouse tab, how your product looks, you can view obviously the product page once again. The photos are all here. You obviously want to actually ship this item. So how do we do that? Well, it's a very simple process. It just has a couple steps. First of all, we select the item, and now you can see on the bottom we have 2 options: rehearsal packing or submit for delivery. Rehearsal packing is a good option if you're someone that has a lot of time and you're not too much in a rush of shipping this haul, and you want to get the most accurate price for your shipping. In some cases, when you submit a haul and you don't do rehearsal, you pay a deposit for your shipping, and then it turns out that the actual price is bigger or smaller and you get a refund, or you have to pay more. The reason this happens is because when you're just submitting the package, they have to guess basically how much it's going to cost to ship. They take all the product information that they have and they add it up, they do some calculations and then figure out how much it might cost, but it's obviously not completely accurate. In real life, you might be able to stuff it down more or stuff it down less depending on the actual density or, you know, the type of item it is. So sometimes you have to pay more or less. The rehearsal prevents that from happening. You can basically ask them to pack it just so you get an accurate idea of how much stuff costs. Here you've got the packaging methods. and remarks if you want to give them specific steps on how they should pack this. I'm going to go into more detail of the packing methods in a second and all of this other stuff, but I just wanted to let you know, Rehearsal is basically a pre-packing service, just in case you want to get a very accurate measurement. This is how you do it, but I'm just going to go to the submit for delivery page because that's where most people will probably be submitting their parcels. So starting us off, we've got the shipping address section, and obviously you want to add your address. You're ordering stuff for the first time. I already have one selected, and I do have my product down here below, or the commodity list I should say, and you can see all of this stuff. Label refers to the product labels that hang off of your items. You can ask them to remove them or leave them. I always just keep them. And for packaging method, you can ask them to either keep the default packaging, fold it, or remove it completely. This is underwear. The packaging here is literally meaningless, so this is not an option. But if you're buying shoes, I 100% recommend folding the shoe boxes or removing them completely. You will save a lot of money if you do this. Shoe boxes take up a lot of space, which is volume, and a lot of the time, a lot of these shipping lines, they actually charge you based off of volume. So that's the size and not the weight of the package. So removing packaging is very, very good. It is a good way to save money. That is an option that you can have. We go a bit down, we have the packaging method. This is pretty important because you don't want your items to get absolutely destroyed in transit, and you in most cases should select carton packaging. And this will open up a couple more options as well for the additional services, because simple packaging doesn't have that many. Simple packaging is just a plastic bag around your items, whereas carton packaging is a box. So we have different options here. Some of these are self-explanatory. Metal shoe trees, as you can see on this image here, are for your shoes so they don't get mangled up. In my experience, I very rarely have any issues without shoe trees, so I don't know if it's even worth it, to be honest. Inflatable shoe trees are cheaper, but they're less reusable. You've obviously got bubble wrap or bubble paper. This does take up a lot of volume as well, so please keep that in mind. If you add bubble wrap for every one of your items or for everything in the box, it will take up a bit more space. Vacuum bagging is goated. If you have a lot of clothing items, soft items, you can get them vacuum bagged, so they suck out all the air and it takes up as least volume as possible, at least space as possible, and then you can pay less for shipping, which is a goated thing. Stretch film and moisture bag are pretty much the same thing. It's just like an extra layer of plastic around your box to prevent any water from coming in, and it also just feels a lot more sturdy when you've got stretch film, because raw cardboard does not feel that good. Stretch film is very tightly wrapped around your box, and I do highly recommend it. Parcel reinforcement is extremely overkill. Not sure why the image isn't loading, but it's basically like a reinforced box. It's $6 extra and it weighs a lot more, so you're going to pay a lot more for shipping after the fact as well. In most cases, what I suggest you use is vacuum bag and stretch film if you have a lot of clothing items. If you have shoes, inflatable shoe trees, once again, I would suggest removing the shoe boxes. If we scroll down now, we're actually doing a pretty important thing here, which is choosing the delivery method or the shipping line. And because this is selected as the UK, I've only got these options. I will actually quickly go over the shipping lines just so you guys know what you should and you shouldn't do. Since we already had the US pulled up, we might as well start off with it. At the time of recording this video, tariff stuff is still going on, but the best choice is KREMS. As of this being filmed. The only issue with that is the weight limit is quite low, and if you do meet that threshold, I would suggest just using one of the USPS lines. But KREMS is like the basic choice as of this video being recorded. One problem with KREMS is that it doesn't have AC care or insurance, whereas the USPS lines do have them. So that is something you might want to take into consideration. For Canada, I would recommend either EMS or Canada Post. Those are pretty much the only two options you should be considering. Either one of those is fine. Canada Post has free insurance, EMS has paid insurance. That is another difference. If you're in a country within the EU, it's very simple for you. Not only are you good with customs, you also have a pretty quick choice. Anything that's duty-free is pretty much good to go. Something that says tax-free, triangle shipping in the description. Literally any of these lines are perfectly fine to do. I would avoid Unit Express. I don't even know why you'd pick that up after what I've just said, but I just want to say outright. DHL, InPost, as long as it's tax-free with triangle shipping, you are good to go, and it's a pretty safe choice. For the United Kingdom, it's a very similar story. Ignore Unit Express and just go with any of the Royal Mail tax-free lines, and you're perfectly fine. It's literally as simple as that. For Australia or New Zealand, it's literally EMS once again. EMS is pretty much your go-to if it is the option other than the EU, because in the EU, the customs are really strict. But like US, Australia, New Zealand, basically all of those countries is EMS. And if you're in a country that's in Europe but isn't in the European Union, then still pretty much EMS. Okay, now that we know which shipping line we want to choose, for the UK, we would go with UK tax-free Y. Select this line. And now we're informed that we have free care, which is really nice. Love to see that. If anything happens to your box, you get your money back. Now you see above the guarantee service, you've got system declaration, and it says the total amount of parcel declaration. Always select system declaration. There is no reason you should be doing personal. Now in this little window, you need to type in a specific amount. Listen up. This is going to be a quick fire. It's going to be very simple though. For Canada, always do $14 in this window. Always, no matter what. For US, declare the actual value you've paid for all the items, or if you're maxed out, you can't do any more than $135, just do $134, or just whatever is the highest value you can do. That's the same case for Australia and New Zealand. Do the max and you're fine to go, or the actual value that you've paid for all your items, which is also, believe it or not, the same thing with the EU. It's literally any number is fine, whatever you paid or whatever is the highest you can enter. And with the UK, you don't want to do anything over 48, and that's all it is. So once again, Canada, always $14. US, EU, Australia, New Zealand, the actual value you paid, unless it's not possible for you to declare that much, in which case you just declare the max. And with the UK, it's up to 48. You can see even here the declaration amount range for this shipping line is 25, so I'll just do 25 and problem solved. It's that simple. It's not black magic. It's not that deep. Speaking of dark magic, I do want to quickly underline the whole volume thing I was talking about. So as you can see, charged by the greater of the actual weight and volume weight. Volume weight is calculated by this, and the size limit is this. So basically, they will compare the size of the package to the weight of the package, and you'll pay for whatever is higher because they want to make money, obviously. Make sure you're removing packaging and you're not using, you know, all of these options, because the bigger the box, the more you pay. Now that we're ready to submit and we're happy with all of this stuff, we've got this section on the right here, leaving a message, price summary, all this stuff. So for leaving a message, this is if you want to specify how they should pack this. If you want, for example, all shoes to be at the bottom, flush against each other, and all clothing items on top, or if you want your shoes to be wrapped by the clothes, whatever, you can specify how you want your stuff packed, what your preference is, and they should follow that if they understand. Obviously, these people are Chinese, so sometimes they might not understand your instructions perfectly. Just below, you've got the option for a discount code. Now, believe it or not, there is a discount code J, which for the first order will be 10%, and for every other one, it will be 5. Then you can exchange it, and then you can choose it from this list. Obviously, I've used it before, so my 10% is gone, but I do have 5% this time, and you do get a cheeky discount. You can then agree with the terms and conditions and then submit the package. Here you have a quick rundown of exactly what is happening, the shipping address, what you removed the packaging from, what items you folded the packaging with, and which items you took the labels from. Obviously, I didn't do that to anything, so I have no products here, but now I can confirm and go through the payment process like we did before for the item. Now, after that, we can go to the parcel tab on the left, just on the warehouse, and you can see all my shipped parcels with ACBuy so far, all of their information, where I shipped them to, what the weight was, what the size was, how much the shipping cost, the shipping line, the status of the haul. So for example, this is received, this one is still shipped. I don't know where my Lego is. I'm waiting. Here you have shipped. And then parcel details and share to get coupons. Let's go into the parcel details first because this is more important. This is where you get a complete rundown of everything with your haul. Starting us off with the parcel info, which is just the parcel number. This is basically meaningless, doesn't mean anything to you. You've got the estimated volume, got the submission time, and the estimated weight. So you can see this was 19 kilograms. But when you scroll down, you'll see that the weighing information after it was actually packaged, the volume is a lot lower and the charged weight is a lot lower as well. So I did actually end up overpaying on this and did get money back after. Further down, you have the actual payment. So you've got a rundown of your price, your shipping line, and also your tracking number. This is important. With this tracking number, which you can copy, you can go on a website called 17 Track and slap it in here, click track, and here you can see a rundown of your package, what's happening to it, where it's going, where it is currently, and all that good stuff. With these tariffless lines, these tax-free lines that I showed you in the EU, you do actually have this like 2-week gap roughly where there's no information because it's on the way to Germany and you don't see any of this stuff. However, if you go on the ACBuy website and track it through the tracking on the parcel tab, you do actually see that information within China. So all goods received in the airport, delivered to the airline, and then the flight, all that stuff you can see here. Obviously the shipping address where your stuff actually got shipped to, and just below that you've got a parcel photo, a picture of your box with the weight and the volume. Really cool to see, to be honest. And then a quick declaration information. Now this is always, you know, like the most random shit. I system declared this and they did for a quantity of 4 items. As you can see, there was a lot more than 4 items in there. What do I know? Honestly, it doesn't matter. And then you can obviously see all the products you have submitted and shipped. Now, all of this information is really good to know, but I do want you guys to know one thing. Tracking relentlessly, you know, checking every 5 minutes won't make your haul move faster. Please don't be impatient. I know so many people that are checking like every 10 minutes, getting super scared. Like, where's my haul? Where's my stuff? Just be patient, okay? It's not that deep. You can wait. You can calm down a little bit and just wait a bit longer. If your package hasn't moved in a week, that's no reason to be alarmed. Maybe 2-3 weeks, that is slightly alarming unless it is a tariffless line. That's completely normal with those types of lines. Please just be patient. We can go back to the parcel tab and look at the fruits of our labor and enjoy the fact that we have submitted the haul. We've checked the parcel status. We've checked how much we've paid. We saw the parcel photo and now it's on the way to our house. And that's the most satisfying thing ever. And yeah, that's pretty much it. There is obviously other features on this website that I didn't go into, such as seeing your profile page, your wallet with all your transactions, your list of coupons, your favorites tab, which is literally just you favoriting products on the page here. You see this little star. There is honestly a lot of things, such as even custom tags where you can filter your products however you want in your cart or in your orders tab. As you can see here, I have main. There is a lot of stuff, but that is in its core the most basic tutorial. You can now submit a haul, you can now order items, you can now find items. You're pretty much good to go. I really hope you guys enjoyed. I hope I covered everything that there was to cover. I hope you guys learned something new, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for the support, and yeah, peace out.